welcome back to the Football Zone and to another weekend preview. And this week, not only do we have the Premier League and the Championship, we also have the quarter-finals of the FA Cup. How exciting! Without further ado, let's get straight into it. And we'll start off with the Premier League and with the Birmingham derby, Wolves v Aston Villa. This is an important game for both sides, with Villa inside the relegation zone on goal difference and Wolves 5 points off a Champions League spot, but still could be very much attainable. However, I do think Wolves just have a slight bit more quality, which is why I think they're going to get a narrow win at Villa Park. I'm saying 1-0 to Wolves. Next up at Vicarage Road, we've got Watford v Southampton. Southampton really don't have much to play for, and Watford only 1 point above the relegation zone, so they definitely still have something to play for. And to be honest, I can see Watford picking up the win here. So I'm going to say a narrow 1-0 win to the home side, which will further ease relegation fears. Next up on Monday night, we've got Crystal Palace v Burnley at Selhurst Park. I think this is just a typical occasion where neither team has anything to play for, and it'll be a very low scoring, pretty uninteresting game. But I think as Crystal Palace at home, they may just nick it. So I'm going to say 2-1 to Crystal Palace. Next up at the Amex, it's Brighton v Man United. I can actually see this being quite a close game. Brighton have been good since the restart and have pulled them away from relegation troubles, beating the likes of Arsenal, and Manchester United just look like a really good team at the moment, with Pogba and Fernandes in the team. So I can see them just having a bit too much quality for Brighton. So I'm going to say 3-1 to United. Next up at the Emirates, Arsenal v Norwich. I can see this being a comfortable win for the home side. Norwich just aren't good enough for the Premier League and have started the restart poorly. And after Arsenal's win at Southampton last night, maybe they can build some momentum now and get their mojo back. And I think they'll continue that here with a comfortable 3-0 victory. Next up, Bournemouth v Newcastle. I can actually see Bournemouth picking up a much-needed win here. Newcastle seem to be fading a bit, only getting a disappointed 1-1 draw at home to Villa on Wednesday. And Bournemouth at home, they desperately need the points. And to be honest, I think they'll have just enough to do it. So I'm predicting Bournemouth will win 1-0 here. A game that I'm very much looking forward to is up next. Everton v Leicester at Goodison Park, I believe. I think this will be a high-scoring affair between two really good teams at the moment. So I'm going to say 2-2. It won't particularly help Leicester's charge to try and stay in the Champions League. They're only 6 points clear of Man United and have started a bit wobbly. But you could describe a point at Everton as a good result. But I do think it'll be an entertaining draw. The penultimate game of the match week is Sheffield United v Tottenham. Sheffield United have been on a bit of a dodgy run. Tottenham have been on a good run, picking up 4 points, 3 from West Ham and 1 from Man United, which isn't a bad result. But I can just see Sheffield United recovering their mojo against a top 6 club. So I think Sheffield United might just nick it 2-1. Last but certainly not least, the big one, Manchester City v Liverpool. I think Manchester City will win this one. Pep will be looking for a reaction after a pretty poor display at Chelsea, and Liverpool have probably been on the booze for the last however long by the time the match comes around, because it's being played on Thursday for some reason. So I can see Man City picking up a win here, maybe just a narrow one, but I can still see them picking up a 2-1 win. And here's how the table looked. Liverpool still champions, of course. Chelsea leapfrog Leicester, and Man United and Wolves closed the gap to the Champions League by 2 points. Arsenal 1 point off Sheffield United and 7th in the race for the Europa League. And in the relegation zone, West Ham drop in and they're now 3 points adrift of Bournemouth. And moving on to the Championship now, Brentford v West Brom. Big game in a race for promotion. West Brom, I think they'll be alright. Solid 6 points clear of Fulham in third. And Brentford, very unlikely to make automatic promotion, but will want a good momentum for the playoffs. It's at Griffin Park, which has been a bit of a fortress lately. So I can see Brentford picking up a 2-1 victory in what should be a very good game. Next up, a huge game in the race for the playoffs. Cardiff just outside of the playoffs in goal difference, take on Preston inside of the playoffs on goal difference. And it is at Preston, which I think gives them a home advantage because they've been brilliant at Deepdale this season. They were top of the league for home form. I don't know if they still are. And for that reason, I can see them just picking up a narrow 2-1 victory, which would be a crucial result in maintaining their playoff spot. Next up, Swansea v Luton at Liberty Stadium. Swansea now may have a chance of the playoffs after demolishing Middlesbrough 3-0 last week at the Riverside against the Luton side, who only had one shot against Preston. And that resulted in a goal, to be fair. But I just don't think they have the quality, even with a new manager bounce. So for that reason, I'm going to say a comfortable 3-0 win for the Swans. Next up, another good team on a push for the playoffs, Derby, with players like Wayne Rooney in their squad, up against Reading, who are in no man's land following a disappointing draw to Stoke last week. I think Derby will just edge a win here, despite Mark Burns' side being very good defensively. But I can see them nicking a 2-1 win here and continuing their push for an unlikely playoff place. Next up, Birmingham v Hull. If I could put a banker on one game, it would be this one. Even though Birmingham don't have anything to play for, they're in about 100 times better state than Hull are at the moment, banning all local media from their ground for some reason. Ask their owners. On League 2 budget, all of their players are gone. I'm saying 3-0 Birmingham as Hull continue on the road to relegation. Next up, a huge game in the fight for automatic promotion. Leeds v Fulham. And wow, if Leeds win this, they're 10 points clear. If they don't, it's down to 4, and it's very much automatic promotion race on. And to be honest, I can see Leeds slipping up here. They don't have a great record at home to teams in and around them, and with strikers like Mitrovic, Knockaert and Cavallero in the Fulham squad, I can genuinely see them winning, so I'm going to say 1-0 to Fulham. Start Middlesbrough v Stoke. Two teams fighting for survival in the Championship, and it's at the Britannia Stadium. Stoke are pretty much clear now, following a good point at Reading and some good form before the lockdown under Michael O'Neill. And Middlesbrough, I think, will probably be safe as well, with Neil Warnock coming in. He knows what he's doing. So I think Stoke would probably win this if Wilgate was in charge. But I think going to the Britannia, Middlesbrough may have to settle for a point in their first game under new management. Next up, Wigan v Blackburn. Wigan, I think, are safe now after a great spell and a good away win at Huddersfield last week. Blackburn in the race for playoffs, but very unlikely. It's at the DW Stadium, so I can see Wigan continuing their great run with a narrow 1-0 victory, I think. Moving on to the Sunday games now. Sheffield Wednesday v Bristol City starts. I can see Bristol City winning this one pretty easily. Sheffield Wednesday are a bit of a state at the moment, and it wouldn't surprise me if Gary Monk leaves soon. And Bristol City will want to continue their push for the playoffs, just being a couple of points outside of it. So I'm going to say 2-0 to Bristol. And next up at the City Ground, it is Nottingham Forest v Huddersfield. I think Forest have to be considered favourites here. They're not going to go up automatically, but look surefire favourites for the playoffs. And Huddersfield now just 1 point above the relegation zone following a disappointing result at home to Wigan. I just don't think they've got the quality really, so I'm saying a comfortable 3-0 win for Nottingham Forest. And if my predictions are correct, the table will look like this. West Brom and Leeds just 4 points above Fulham and 5 above Brentford. Preston with a comfortable 1 point gap over Swansea. And then in the relegation zone, Huddersfield remain just 1 point above Hull, with Luton and Barnsley pretty much already down. And don't worry, I haven't forgotten about the FA Cup. Norwich v Man United starts off the games at Carrow Road. I think Man United's second team would probably have the quality to beat the first team, and it may be something like that, with Man United still fighting for the Champions League and Norwich not really much to play for now, they're pretty much down. But I can see a comfortable win for Man United, and I think the score will be 3-1. Next up, Sheffield United v Arsenal at Bramall Lane. I can actually see this being a really close game. Chris Wilder has stated on multiple occasions how desperate he is to win a
trophy this season, and this is going to be their only chance to do so. Arsenal in a bit of a dodgy state, so it'll be interesting to see what sort of team they bring down to Sheffield with all the injuries. Bring up to Sheffield, sorry. But I'm going to say a 1-1 draw, and Arsenal will just nick it on penalties. Next up, Leicester v Chelsea. It will be interesting to see how seriously these two teams take this tournament with the Champions League race ongoing. But I can see Leicester desperately wanting to get to Wembley after they buggered up the Carabao Cup. Chelsea maybe less fussed. So for that reason I'm going to say 2-1 to Leicester as my prediction. And finally, Newcastle v Man City at St James's Park. I can see this being a really tough game for Newcastle. Man City have nothing to play for now except for the Champions League, but that's not starting for a month or so. And Newcastle, nothing to play for either, so it wouldn't be surprising if it was both sides' strongest team, which wouldn't mean good things for Newcastle. And for that reason, I'm saying a 4-1 City victory. And those are our predictions for this weekend's games. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Follow us on Twitter for daily football news and subscribe to the channels on screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.